Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Anime, and boy, do I have a show for you.
From Trey Sessler, the young Montgomery County man who killed his family.
In the video, he admits killing his mom, his dad, and his brother, but investigators say he planned on killing many more.
Which is an exceptional YouTube entertainer, and I don't plan on leaving YouTube. Mr. Anime is not going anywhere.
Sessler pleaded guilty to capital murder and is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
I want to thank you all for watching me over the last 4 years, and you know what? I hope there's 40 more years of Mr. Anime to come.
When you think of the anime YouTube community today, you think about people like the Trash Taste Crew or Mother's Basement or Weeb Commander and others like them. A generally upbeat and mostly positive group of people who are highly passionate about the anime medium. But what you wouldn't know is that the origins of this community are much darker than you might imagine. With the explosion of anime, especially since the pandemic, anime YouTube is larger than ever. But anime YouTube didn't begin with the pandemic. Instead, it began with YouTube itself, with the earliest accounts popping up in 2005 and 2006. One of these earlier accounts went by the name of Mr. Anime, otherwise known as Trey Sessler. Mr. Anime, like many today, covered anime and reviewed different series, but also liked to make comedy skits. He even aspired many anime channels today and helped establish the community. But you wouldn't hear many mentions of this man today, and you won't find his account on YouTube anymore. Trey has become the black sheep of this community, in a similar way that Chris Benoit did with the WWE, with most pretending that he didn't exist. This is because Mr. Anime isn't just known for covering and reviewing anime. His most well-known and most evil act is the triple murder of his family in the early hours of March 12th, 2012. This video will cover the rise and the dark fall of Mr. Anime, one of the founding fathers of anime YouTube. Before we get into this video, if you enjoy this content, I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and comment below and let me know what you think.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was so bad in my mind that I just want to kill somebody. I don't have any...
The rise. Trey Sessler, otherwise known as Mr. Anime, was born on August 3rd, 1989. In the great state of Texas to Rhonda and Lawton Sessler. Trey was the youngest sibling and had a brother named Mark who was about 3 years older. In his early youth, Trey was pretty much your average kid. He didn't get into much trouble in school and got along with fellow students for the most part. He had hobbies, friends, and many other regular things. Things were normal until he entered his teenage years. At the age of 13, Trey would reveal a strange plan that he had come up with to his school teacher, in which he planned to call the police to his house. He would hide in the nearby woods and ambush the police with a bat when they arrived, steal their firearms, and go over to his friend's house and kill him. This was the first time Trey expressed interest in killing. Well, at least when he expressed it publicly. Though Trey was sent to a psychiatrist, the issue was dropped, and it doesn't seem like anyone took it too seriously. After all, he is just a child, and children say stupid things, right? Through middle and high school, Trey was, as described by his fellow students, a mostly normal student. Trey was known for being intelligent and kind. He didn't have a lot of friends and wasn't the most social, but he wasn't a loner either. He had a tight clique that he hung out with regularly. His best friend was his older brother Mark. They were known for being very close and always joking around with one another. They even worked together at the local grocery store in high school. Trey also enjoyed quite a regular and warm home life as a child. His mother Rhonda worked at a local paper and is known for being loving and generous. Her co-workers actually described her as being a great writer who loved to laugh. His father Lawton was a school teacher at Robinson Elementary and was regarded as an intelligent and respected instructor. Despite that first strange event at the age of 13, it seemed that all was going well and that Trey would grow up to be an upstanding citizen, or at least a normal one. But there were still signs of violence in Trey's mind, though perhaps not as disturbing as before. You see, Trey loved watching violence in the media, whether it be video games, movies, or anime. Many of his fellow students would recount how much he loved violent media. Now, I know it's a bit of a cliche to say that violent video games or shows inspire real-life violence, but when someone has fantasized about murdering people in real life, I don't know, maybe in that case their obsession with fictional violence might be a red flag. But regardless, he didn't just want to watch media, he wanted to make his own. Trey's dream was to get into filmmaking. Of course, being in high school meant that his options were limited, but there was a new website that had appeared. A revolutionary website that made media content creation a little bit easier and accessible to more people. A website that would allow you to reach thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of people. Something that no normal person could do before. It was a little known website called YouTube. About a year after YouTube was established in 2005, Trey created his first YouTube account called Lens Cap Productions in September of 2006. Trey would get a camera and begin his career as a filmmaker. Trey created several short films, many including his older brother Mark, who usually served as a bad guy. Watching these videos back, there's a certain nostalgia to them. YouTube videos back in the day were usually made with much lower production quality. The cameras were blurry and angled in weird ways. Like, should the camera be level and look right at me? Nah, how about you look at me from the side? I mean, back then all you needed was an internet connection and a cheap Sony camera, and you were golden. The editing was usually basic or non-existent. Truly amateurish, and I loved it. Modern YouTube with its incredibly high production qualities just doesn't have that same uniqueness, that magic that early YouTube had.
Is that a cup holder? I'll take it.
Regardless, in 2007, Trey graduated Waller High School and thereafter established a second YouTube channel called Mr. Anime, where he would make a plethora of videos from anime reviews to skits, gun videos, and discussions on different social topics such as mass shootings and NEETs. During this time, Trey would attend Blinn College for about 2 years but eventually drop out. He would continue to focus on his YouTube career and the dream of becoming a filmmaker. He would eventually reach 4,000 subscribers by 2010 and achieve monetization on YouTube. At this point, he was well established as one of the prominent anime YouTubers. Trey reviewed anime from Death Note to Inuyasha to Cowboy Bebop and many more. His name would become recognizable around the anime sphere on YouTube, and even though he wasn't the biggest channel, he inspired many and almost everyone knew his name. Besides anime reviews, Trey loved to make skits. After all, he wanted to be a filmmaker. His skits covered many different genres, from comedy to action. His most well-known skits involved a lot of violence, where Trey would have shootouts with this or that enemy. Everything seemed to be going well. Trey was getting to create his content and was gaining popularity. He was even able to monetize it. Everything was getting better. But soon the cracks started to show, and very quickly things started to fall apart behind the scenes. The fall.
Anime boy, do I have a show for you? No. No, I don't have a good show for you today. You know why? Because after you, this piece of fucking shit. Alright, first of all, we've changed up our table a little bit. We now have this, it's the POS gun. We destroyed pieces of shit with it, and we're definitely gonna be destroying this after we're done with it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was so bad in my mind that I just want to kill somebody. I don't have any...
Anime and filmmaking weren't Trey's only interests. He would soon begin to start making content around guns. Now Trey loved guns, and it kind of fed into his violent fantasies. You see, he didn't just use them to make demonstration videos or skits. It was stranger than that. In 2011, a year before the incident would occur, Trey moved into his grandmother's house after she passed away. Close to this house was a tractor repair business run by Charles Scroggins. Charles described Trey as being a strange fella, and that he knew that Trey was bad news. Charles mentioned that Trey would sometimes show him his guns. He would talk about how he could shoot a person way off yonder. Every time Trey talked about shooting at something, it was always about shooting a person, not like shooting a target or an animal. This led Charles to believe that Trey might kill someone someday. In this video, Trey shows off his new 9mm rifle.
Oh, how you doing everyone? It's Mr. Anime. Or you can call me Trey. You can call me the guy that does the video game reviews, or you can call me the guy that does all the gun stuff now. What I have here today to show you is a high point. Now, for those of you that are familiar with high point, you might have a very low...
But one thing you'll notice is that he's acting strangely and somewhat slurring his words. He appears to be drunk, and this would be one of the many signs that things behind the scenes weren't going well. And this wasn't the only video in which he appears intoxicated. In 2011, Trey was starting to drink heavily behind the scenes, while his relationships with his family were falling apart. While living alone at his grandmother's house, he would start getting into arguments with his father and brother. Remember how I said that Trey dropped out of college to focus on YouTube and filmmaking? Well, his family wasn't too happy about this. By late 2011, about 3 or so months before the killings, their relationship hit rock bottom. Now, his father wasn't just arguing about him dropping out. He was also upset about Trey's heavy drinking that was coming through his videos, as I mentioned before. But during this time, while he was living alone, reviewing anime, shooting guns, and drinking weren't the only things that he was doing. He'd also developed a fascination with mass shootings and mass shooters, particularly the Columbine and Virginia Tech shootings. He had also gained an interest in serial killers. According to what investigators found after the incident, it appears that Trey had actually been tier-ranking serial killers and had also downloaded a satellite map of his old high school and had begun to plan his own shooting. Trey would spend a few years planning on how to attack his former high school and unleash his own carnage, similar to Columbine and Virginia Tech. Trey, during his police interrogation, would actually admit to shooting at businesses in the middle of the night and even killing his pets. Trey didn't just want to watch violent shows or movies and mimic them in his skits and reviews. He wanted to create his violence in real life. Mass violence that would first involve the murder of his family, followed by the shooting of his former high school where he suspected that he would kill at least 70 people. The end. 2012 would be the most impactful year of his and many others' lives. On February 13, 2012, Trey uploaded a video called Mr. Anime is Planning Something. With 2020 hindsight, we might consider this foreshadowing, but the video itself doesn't really hint at anything nefarious.
Well, hi everybody, it's Mr. Anime here, and I'm recording on my MacBook's web camera, and my MacBook's from like 4 years ago, so the web camera's not that great, so you'll have to bear with me. This is just an update video to let you guys know that I'm going to reward myself with probably a 2 or 3 week break coming up here from YouTube videos, anime reviews in particular. I might do some blog stuff. I want to thank you guys a lot for sticking with me and watching the channel. I got more subscribers than ever. I have more views than ever, and everything is going really good. So I'll probably be putting out some blog videos, like I said, and I hope you enjoy those blog videos. I hope you definitely enjoy those. And the Google AdSense thing has been going great, and I really appreciate you guys clicking on my page. Well, I won't say it, but you guys know what to do. And I'll see you with some blog videos. Thanks for watching my channel.
In the video, he announces that he's taking a 3-week break and thanks his fans for all their support. He doesn't even explain what he's planning to do, but now we know, and it was an anime reviews. On March 8th, 2012, Trey uploaded his second last video in which he covered the issue of NEETs.
So, after watching Welcome to the NHK and learning about the NEETs, which are people that are not in employment, education, or training, well, they used to be called status 0 about 20 years ago, but they finally changed them to NEETs, not in employment, education, or training. Technically, since I do a little Googling, I don't totally consider myself a NEET. But this word is somewhat of an insult over in Japan. Not so much. It's not like, you go up to someone and call them a fat. NEETs are looked upon as, the lower range of society. Like, think about it. They're not employed. They have no education prospects. They're not doing any training. So they're just sitting around really doing a bunch of nothing. A lot of people are playing video games. People like myself are wasting time on YouTube. So my main question to you guys is, and girls, NEETs. Are they out of control? Are you a NEET? Would you be afraid to consider yourself a NEET? Because Welcome to the NHK, this is the kind of thing that I wanted to retread on a little bit. In Welcome to the NHK, the main character always stayed in his room. He had trash all over the place. And he was a NEET. But I don't know where the line is between NEET and fucking hobo. And as for me, a NEET? No. I like to get out and do a little funk sometimes. Mr. Anime can shake it. But all jokes aside, there is a hidden truth behind these people that are not in employment, training, or education. And there's people that are aspiring artists. There's people that are aspiring reviewers, like myself. I would absolutely love to make a living off reviewing anime. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that would love to make a living off drawing and sketching, because I know there's a lot of you that have sketched well because you've sent me some of your sketches. So what I'm trying to get at is, I don't think that NEETs are losers. I think some of them may be, fucked up crackhead, cooking crack in the kitchen, shooting it straight into your fucking arm, like fucked up people. But I think there's a large majority of NEETs that is out there. They're working from home like I am. They're trying to make it. They're trying to do something with the talent that they want to do. So you know what? To hell with whoever says that not in employment and training or whatever, or status 0. Fuck that shit. It's nothing but propaganda. So, thanks for watching this rant, and I will see you next time, probably for 11 Eyes. I just finished it, and I'll let you know what I think of it.
which stands for not in education, employment, or training. In other words, someone who isn't doing anything. In this video, he actually defends Neets and attacks those criticizing him. And one could assume that this was based on Trey's personal life, in which he was being criticized by his father for dropping out of college and not working a traditional job, and drinking too much. In fact, in the video, Trey says that he doesn't consider himself totally a Neet. He even mentions that people like him who waste their time on YouTube are considered Neets. He mentions that Neets aren't all losers, and that some of them are trying to be artists or YouTubers, and shouldn't be attacked and written off. Again, the personal connection is there, and this video does seem like an indirect response to his father and the airing of his inner frustrations. In addition, you can once again hear that Trey sounds intoxicated in this video. He also ends the video by telling his viewers that he will review 11 Eyes in the next video, but that review will never come, for his next and last video as well, it doesn't really have anything to do with anime. On March 13th, 2012, just 1 week before the incident, Trey uploaded his last video called Mr. Anime's New Job.
Well, hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mr. Anime here, and well, I have some pretty good news. It's not, well, I have some kind of bad news, but it is good news. The good news is that I now have found a full-time job in a department that I'm interested in, which is film. I'm still going to be doing the Google thing though, and I'm still going to be doing videos. So keep supporting Mr. Anime. I'll still be doing anime reviews, but probably not as many because this job will be full-time. But thanks to all of y'all, I've been able to be recognized by some people, and I'm going to be doing some good stuff.
Mr. Anime Season 2, we've had a lot of history together. But I'm going to be gone for some work, and I might need you to help me. What do you say? Come on. Think about it. You, sir. Sir. Cool.
So please support me. Keep watching Mr. Anime Reviews. Thanks to everyone, all you guys, even though I think I'm the only one here. And of course, click my, well, you know what to do. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Over the 4 or 5 years, I appreciate it a lot.
He announced that he had been discovered by some headhunters and that he was going to finally start working in filmmaking. He also mentions how he was going to continue his job at Google where he sold ads. He stated that due to this new job, he wasn't going to be able to make as many reviews as he did before. He ends the video by thanking his fans for all their support in the last few years. According to Trey's friend, Tara Sandoval, she had texted Trey in January 2012, and he had mentioned that he was working for Google and selling ads. He mentioned that he was going to move in with his parents because their internet connection was faster. Tara mentioned that when she last texted with Trey, that he sounded normal, that nothing was off. But it turns out that things weren't what they seemed. Both of these jobs that Trey mentioned were fake, and there's no evidence to suggest otherwise. It seems to me that Trey just needed an excuse to take time off from YouTube and isolate himself so that he could focus on other things. Things that would soon become quite apparent. The video does feel like somewhat of a final send-off, especially where he thanks his fans for all the years of support, but now we're in the endgame, and the true horror begins. On the evening of March 19th, 2012, Trey would stay up drinking heavily alone at his grandmother's house. Was this done out of regular habit or to overcome the fear of what he was about to do next? I don't really know. But in the early hours of March 20th, 2012, he would drive over to his parents' house. When he arrived, he would first lure his mother into the garage, where he fired about 4 shots and killed her.
And I fire about 4 times. And I don't know where she gets hit, but I know it's somewhere in the torso area. And she falls like...
Trey then stands there and takes in what he has just done. There's a moment of doubt in his head on whether or not to continue, but he realizes that he's gone too far and has no choice but to finish it. In his mind, he can't just go to his brother and father and admit what he did, but he also doesn't want them to suffer from the loss of Rhonda. So in some sick and twisted logic, he decides to put them out of their misery.
After I did that, it was like, well, I'm already committed, really. Can't really go to my brother and my dad and be like, yeah, I just killed.
He proceeds into the house and shoots his brother, the same one that he had been close with, the same one that appeared in many of his videos.
My brother's lying there, and this big pile of blood is terrifying. It's just a bad sight. And I was like, okay. I guess I've got it.
While all this was happening, his father was awoken by the gunshots. Trey ran into his room and immediately shot him. He then went to each of the family members and shot him again to make sure that they were dead. He didn't want them suffering on the ground for hours. Despite murdering them, he still seemed to care for them in a strange way.
Anyone be suffering, laying on the floor for hours, moaning and groaning.
He then proceeded to tear up the house and kill the family pets, and would write with marker over some of the doors in which he expressed regret over his actions, and asked God to forgive him. He wrote that he didn't know why he had done what he did, but the reason that he killed them was actually quite simple. He didn't want them to know about what he was about to do next. He didn't want them to suffer. Again, in his strange and twisted way, he cared about his family. But what exactly was this next thing? Well, remember how I talked about his obsession with school shootings?
Hi there, I'm Mr. Anime. I hope you didn't have to see all of that. Oh my god. Anti-Anime Association. What does all this mean? I got a lot of things to figure out here, guys. I'm gonna have to let this video off. Oh man, I got all these bodies to clean up. I hope any Ash is not outside. I gotta settle up with him too. But until then, I'll be around for more Mr. Anime reviews. See ya.
After Trey was done making sure everyone in the house was dead, someone made a 911 call to report the sound of bullets, and Trey decided to leave the house and carry out the next step of his plan. Trey Sessler got into his black Mustang and drove over to Waller High School. He had multiple firearms and 100 bullets with him. He planned to attack the school pep rally, where he estimated that he could kill upwards of 70 people. He wanted to outdo the Columbine mass shooting after all. But then the strangest thing happened. He didn't do it. Sitting there in the parking lot alone of the school, the weight of what he had just done began to bear down on him. Things started to become a little bit too real. So, ultimately, he decided to drive away and go to his friend's house nearby.
And I'm like, there's my opportunity. Go ahead. Right after I had killed the family, it was on my mind to do that. Well, you know, I could creep across the field and open up on the home stand and probably cause more mayhem with people trying to get away. I don't know, maybe it was just what happened was too real.
The police would eventually find him in Magnolia, sitting in his car alone. Here, Trey was arrested, then convicted, and given multiple life sentences. When the news broke out, many were completely surprised, both as fans and other anime YouTubers. No one saw it coming, and many even made response videos on how shocked they were. No one could have suspected it. Well, maybe except those in his personal life that saw the signs. The obsession with violence and strange remarks about shooting and killing people, the heavy drinking and troubled mind. Unfortunately, most either ignored this or thought it was no big deal. No one acted before it was too late. Conclusion. Well, that's the story of Mr. Anime, or Trey Sessler, the man who helped found an entire community on YouTube and then decided to leave the darkest mark on it. Trey was known for his comedy and passion for anime and filmmaking. He was known for having a bright future, and if he was still around, I'm sure he would have been one of the biggest YouTubers in the community. But it's obvious now that Trey had a troubled mind, and that he desired other things. Strange things that his classmates and neighbors noticed from time to time. Trey has shown red flags since he was a teenager. His desire to kill people in real life, and his abuse of animals, should have been clear signs that he was troubled, but unfortunately, those were ignored by the authorities and his parents. And for his parents, it would come back to haunt them later. Again, I know it's a cliche to say that too much violent TV or video games are bad, but when someone is clearly troubled like Trey, well, maybe it's worth paying attention to why they're obsessed. Anyhow, regardless of this event, anime YouTube is going strong, and this community is filled with great people. We shouldn't let one bad mark ruin it for everyone. Well guys, thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.